0% down payment with 3.5% of your closing costs being paid. USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, has a program that has a 0% down payment requirement. However, you as the buyer need to qualify. Qualifying for the USDA program, you need to have at least a 620 credit score, and your debt to income ratios cannot exceed a 29 front end and a 41% back end. So what does that mean? The mortgage cannot exceed 29% of your monthly income, and your current debts and mortgage combined, which is the back end ratio, cannot exceed 41% of your monthly income. That's where the debt to income ratio comes from, right? Now, the second part to USDA is that not only does the buyer have to qualify, the property has to be in a USDA eligible area. USDA is for rural areas. USDA typically qualifies in areas that has a population less than 35,000 people. It may vary. The easiest way to find out if a property qualifies for USDA is by going to USDA.gov, going to the Rural Housing Guaranteed Program, and then from the Guaranteed Program, you will click on Property Eligibility. From there, you will put in an address in the area you want to live, and it will immediately let you know if the property qualifies. If the property does qualify, it will say eligible. If it does not qualify, it will say ineligible. The link for that will be below so that you can go to the USDA website. Now, USDA has some other caveats. It is based off household income. So there are income limits. The income limits are going to vary depending on where you live at. There will be a link below where you can click on it and see what the income limits for your family size in your area. So the income limits are going to be based off of household income. Household income means if the wife is the only one on the actual USDA loan and she is married, that's what makes her a wife, then they're going to look at her income as well as her spouse's income to make the total household income. The income they base it off of is anyone who's in the household or living in the household who is 18 or older and has an income. That income is counted into the household income per USDA. Those people don't have to be on the loan. However, their income does get counted into the total household income through USDA. So to recap, USDA is a 0 down payment required. You need to have a 620 credit score. Your housing ratio cannot exceed 29, and your total debt ratio cannot exceed 41% of your monthly income. Now, with USDA, it is not only for first-time home buyers. It is for single family residents also. It can be for a stick-built, manufactured, and modular home. So you do have those three options. It is not for, again, it's not for multifamily. For this particular program, you cannot do a renovation loan. This loan is available. I can help you in 46 states. This loan is available in all 50 states. So let's get into the down payment assistance portion. So the down payment assistance program will pay 3.5% of your closing costs. Your closing cost is the funds that are used to pay everyone else. Now, this product does have discount points, so it's not going to pay all of your closing costs. The benefit to USDA is that it will allow for up to 6% seller's assistance in this instance. You can get 3.5% of your closing costs paid by the down payment assistance program. And let's say you have an additional $4,000 that needs to be paid for down payment. You can ask the seller for the entire $4,000. It's up to them whether they want to pay it or whatever they decide to pay. Let's say the seller decides they can pay $2,000, then the money that you will need to bring to closing out of your pocket will be the additional $2,000. The down payment assistance programs does select the interest rate, but there is a bonus. There aren't many down payment assistance programs that will allow for you to do a 2-1 buy down. A 2-1 buy down is this. Let's say the interest rate on the down payment assistance program is 8.125%. If you do a 2-1 buy down, the rate the first year will be 6.125. The second year, it will be 7.125. And the remaining 28 years, the rate goes back to 8.125, which you originally qualified for. The 2-1 buy down is not a ARM. It is a way to temporarily alleviate some of the monthly payment and help you save at least for your first 2 years. Now, with the 2-1 buy down, a portion of that has to come from the seller. At least 51% of that has to come from the seller. So back to the seller being able to pay 6% closing costs. If the seller is willing to pay more for closing costs, a portion of that can be used as a 2-1 buy down, and that could help you have a lower interest rate for your first 2 years. Now, this down payment assistance does have an option, right? It is forgivable. That, let's say example, the down payment assistance program gives you your 3.5%, and let's say it's $10,500. That $10,500 goes against your property as a second lien. As a second lien, for this particular program that I'm speaking of, it has a 0 interest rate, which means there's no interest being paid on it, and it is forgiven. What you have to do is you have to make on-time payments for 5 years. After the full 5th year, this down payment assistance, the $10,500 which you got, is going to be forgiven. They will send you a letter saying that it has been forgiven. What that does is that allows for them to recoup some of their funds from giving out down payment assistance, or in this case, closing cost assistance. And it also allows for them to help someone who legitimately wants to get into a house. Typically, the average person moves between 5 and 7 years. This 5 years satisfies that need of the buyer typically being in the house for 5 years, as well as the down payment assistance program allowing for you to have your loan forgiven after remaining in the house for 5 years. Now, to recap, this program is USDA coupled with a down payment assistance program, which will pay 3.5% of your closing costs. And this program, USDA, also allows for the seller to pay up to 6% of the closing costs. If you want more information on the USDA program, watch this video here. And also, if you have student loan debt and you'd like to learn about student loan debt and USDA calculation, watch this video here. Also below, you will have a link to a free home buyer's guide, which walks you from A to Z through the process and allows for you to understand the home buying process. The link will be below. And also, we have a free Facebook group, which you can be invited to, where we go live in the group. We get informative information, and you know when I'm going live on YouTube.